So, hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about of the one important tool which can be used regularly in SSIT-LDB as a technical guide, which we can call that as an LDB. So, what exactly by the LDB means? It's a logical
Sir,
database.
your voice is too clear.
My voice is something clear or clear? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So today we are going to discuss about of the tool which is called as an LDB, and it is called as a logical database. Say, what exactly the logical database? Yet, what exactly is the logical database?
Your
And hello,
hello.
yeah, Atul. So today we are going to discuss about of one of the important tool which is called as an LDB, and in the short form which we can call it as a logical database. So in this logical database, what exactly will be happening? So what is the difference in between of the normal SAP database table and even the logical database? In the sense of, the database table is used to record the data. That means pull the data into one database table. Whatever the data which has been happened from the client side or whatever it was, that SAP data has been stored in the database table. Instead of that, what exactly by the LDB, in the sense of it is in a logical database which is useful to club or mingle a multiple of the database tables into one separate table, which is called as an LDB. That means, simply we can say that whenever the client wants to call the reporting from the database tables, or whenever the client wants to get the data from the database tables, instead of interacting the database tables directly, if we can create one LDB, whenever we want to call the report, we can interact directly with the LDBs, not with the database tables. That is what exactly by the logical database. See, what is an exact logical database? In the sense of, it is a tool, or it is a table, which is used to maintain a multiple of database tables under one roof. So when we want to call the data from the database table, from the database table when we want to call the data from the database table, instead of the instead of interacting the database table directly if we can create one LDB, and whenever we want we can call the LDB, and the situation automatically, the performance of ABAP engine will be getting high. Why? Because we are not directly interacting with the database table. That's why we are interacting with the LDB which we have already created. That's why what will be happen here is, instead of getting the data from the database table, we are getting from the LDB which we have prepared. So in this LDB, which we are having totally three parts. The LDB consists of the three parts. The first part of the LDB, which we can call this as a structure. The first part of the LDB, which we can call as a structure. So in the structure, what will be happen? So let's have a look, which we are already having some of the things here. See, LDB, and as well as which we can call it as a logical database table. See, what is the main purpose of the LDB? The logical databases are special ABAP programs that retrieve the data and make it available to application programs. And the most common use of the LDBs is to read the data from the different database tables by linking them into the executable program. Instead of programs interacts directly with the database, they interact with the logical databases. In SAP, LDBs are extensively used for the HRs, as for the info types and HR ABAP, and even when we are creating the SQL statements or whatever, regularly we are using this. And this LDB consists of the three parts. So, what is the first part of the LDB? In the sense of the first part of the LDB is called as a structure. So, in before that, I want to clarify about some example for this LDB. Either if you can say that from the purchasing side. So, for example, I am having the one vendor report using by the FBL3N. Is it right? But what I'm saying that with the system is already having the FBL3N, but instead of FBL3N vendor report, if the client is asking the multiple report, what they are asking is when they are giving the vendor number from and to and execute, and the client wants the report that there has to be show the report of vendor number, vendor name, and that vendor wise purchase invoices, and even that invoice wise payments also. That means, which we can say that there is a different types of the things will be there. The first thing is a vendor data, like as a vendor number and vendor name. And the second thing is the vendor wise purchases. That means that is called values which can be comes into the our purchase records, which is called as a purchase account and the vendor account, that value. And after that, is there any payment has been done against of that purchase invoice? What is that payment? And as like that, we require those of the report into the SAP system if the client is asking that. But what from our side as a financial guy is the SAP system doesn't have in the report previously, which is already available in the SAP. That's why what we have to do that whenever the client has been asking about of that type of the requirement, we can send that requirement to the ABAP team as an ABAP team, or else if I am a techno-functional guy, what I have to do, that is the main thing. So in this situation, first of all, what we have to know that whatever the client is asking the data, and is the data, well, it comes from which of the database tables. And let me take an example, which I have explained that vendor-wise purchases and payments. But here I am taking one example as like as the customers. Say for example, what my client is asking that if they are entered the customer number from from one from 1000 to something 2999, and if they can execute this program, if they can execute what the client is asking, whatever it has to be from here, what it has to do, the client is asking that when that it was executing, it has to be shows the first of all customer details. It has to be show the first of all, that is that customer details, and even with that customer wise sales order details, customer wise sales orders, and even that customer wise order wise items. So That is the client which they are asking. That means here which we are taking as an a report, that is an example of the customer wise, order wise items which we require that type of the report. Then what we have to do? What we have to do that? First of all, initially we have to know that what are the different types of the database tables which is interacting here. So here the first database table which we are interacting with the customer. So the customer database table itself, the SAP system is having that KNA1. So this is the SAP predefined database table which the SAP system is already having. The database table name itself is an KNA1. So in this KNA1, what we are having is all the customer details which we are having in this database table. And even for the sales order header, or else which we can call as an for the sales order. What is the table name of the sales order? And the table name of the sales order, it was an VBAK, as which we have created in the previous of the session, whatever the database tables which has been created. Instead of that, the SAP system is already having the database tables, which is the customer details and as well as the customer wise order details. The customer details will be stored in the table of the KNA1, and as well as the customer wise orders has been processed in the table of VBAK. Now, what my requirement is that the customer wise and order wise items. That means again I have to go for the sales items. So if here the sales items is an a VBAP. VBAP. So by using of these three of the database tables, I want to get one report. That is the report which I want to call it as an LDB report. So as which I discussed. As like that, first of all, what we have to do in this process of the LDB, in the sense of first of all, we need to create the one structure. So in the structure, what we are having, in the sense of we are having the nodes and the tables. So what is a nodes? In the sense of whatever we are taking that from the SCT that has been coming into here as a node. So as a here I'm taking as a node of A, and thus node of A can have the table of KNA1, and the node of B, and it contains the table of VBAK, and the node of C, and it contains the table of VBAP. That means I am in require a multiple of the database tables, and those of the database tables has to be structured in a program wise in a structure. In the structure, I am require the node A, node B, and node C, and the node A represents the table of KNA1, and the node B represents the VBAK, and the node C represents the table of ABAP. Like that, I am having three of the nodes. The first node, in generally, which we are calling as an A, first node, as an A, root node or a primary node. So the first node, which we can call as an A, root node or a primary node. Under this primary node, we can have a multiple of the nodes. So what we have to do? In the sense of, first of all, we have to create a structure. Under here, one creation of a structure, we have to maintain the what is the nodes which we are having. That means what is the root node and even what is the primary node. Under that primary nodes, whatever which we are having the secondary nodes are the everything. So for this process, which we can call as a structure. See, for making of this LDB, which we are using the data, the transaction code of SE36. See, let's have a look here in SAP Easy Access Screen. SE36. That means when we people are interacting with the client, if the client is asking that instead of the any of the predefined report either in the financials or in the HR or in the sales, that means instead of that, if the client is asking any other or any more records or any other reports, as per their requirement. If the SAP is not manufactured, in that situation, what we have to do that we need to make a customization of that, LDB using by that to load the logical database as per the client's requirement. So in the situation, how we can create that LDB in the sense of either we can using by the transaction code of the SE36. By the using of the SE36, we can create our own LDB. So here, what is the LDB name which you want to create? So I am creating here my LDB name should be the ZABCD. I am giving my LDB name with the name of ZABCD and then create it. And what it was, and which I'm saying that my logical database, and then enter, select the local object. Now it asking that as which we discussed, the first thing here it is asking about of the root node. So as which we have discussed, we can take any of the name for the our root node as the primary node. So what do you want for your root node or the primary node? What do you want to maintain for your root node? So here I am maintaining my root node as a KNA1. That means I am making my node name and as well as my database table name shall be the same. But even it is not a mandate to maintain as the same. Instead of like this KNA1 as which we discussed in the previous A, B, C, D also we can. But here I am taking as an a KNA1 and what it was in the sense of it was in a customer master database table. See, first of all create it, what it is, and which I am saying that my logical database create is, and what is the root node? KNA1, and what it was, which I am saying that it was a customer master node, and this customer master node can have the database table of which one, and it can have the database table of the KNA1, even which I said that even you can take the any of the node name, but here I am taking the same as the KNA1 and the database table also the KNA1, and this is the create button. Just create it. See in the structure which I have already created one node name, and that node is in a KNA1 and that node is having the table of KNA1. Again under this KNA1, that's why select the KNA1 and right click, or else select the primary node and right click, and at that what we have to do, that insert node. Under the KNA1 or under the root node, what do you want? Under the primary node and the root node, I am required the second node which I am calling as an VBAK. So what was in a VBAK in the sense of which I am saying that customer-wise sales orders. Customer-wise sales order. And this customer-wise sales order has to be comes under on the KNA1. That means hierarchically it has to be comes under on KNA1, and it was a table of VBAK. That means I have taken the primary node as an a KNA1, and as a primary node I have taken as an a secondary node which is called as an a VBAK, that has to be comes under on the KNA1 and create. See in the structure, first of all I have created one node, under that another node, and even if I require another node under the secondary node again, that means under the VBAK again I want to create another one and another one. Then what we have to do? Means what? Under this I am required VBAK, and it has to be considered on hierarchically under on VBAK, but the database table of VBAK and create it. See now my the structure has been created. Even if you can understand here, what we have to do that, first of all we need to create the one structure. Under the structure I have maintained the first one as an KNA1, and the node name of the KNA1, which I am calling it as a database table of KNA1. Under that KNA1, I have created another node name which has been mentioned with the VBAK and the table also with the VBAK, and even I am in require of the another node name under the VBAK which has been mentioned as a VBAP. Under this VBAP, what we have to do that we are having the another database table that is called as a VBAP. So under one thing we can have a multiple of things. Under one of the things we can have a multiple of the things, and just after completion of the structure, even if you can see here the structures has been done. In the structure we can have a three nodes. We can have in a three nodes. Under this node, three nodes, we are having the first one of the KNA1, it represents with the customer, and that another one which is called as an excuse me. And the second one is the VBAK, it requires the database table of the VBAK, and the next one is a VBAP, that is also the VBAP, and after that click on source code. See, which I said that the first part, which we can call as the first part as a structure. And what is the next topic? And what is the next part here? In the sense of the next part of here is called as a selections. So as which we have discussed, the client is asking the report when they are calling the data with the key of customer number from and to. Even if my client is in a banking sector, if my client is in a banking client or is an insurance or something, any services provider, if it is in a banking client, what my client is asking that they want to get the report by date wise. That means here the selection option should be the date wise. Even if my client is in an insurance sector, what they are asking that instead of the customer number or instead of the date wise, what they're asking that they want to maintain the record by the every 3 months. That is quarterly wise. And in this situation, what we have to do that we need to take as a date from and to, not the customer number from and to. That's why here what we have to do that we need to maintain the selection option for the data retrieval. So for this, which I am writing one code, but we need not to write the code. Why? Because the system will automatically calculating the code instead of writing of any program. Why? Because I am a techno-functional. We want to become a techno-functional. As a techno-functional guys, with the FI to the ABAP, we do that. We not try to program in this LDB. Under this LDB, if you can select the selections. See here, the selections. Just click on the selections, and it asking that should the changed structure of jet ABCD saved first? Yes. That means whatever we have created the LDB, and do you want to save this LDB first of all? Yes. So under this LDB, we want to maintain the something, that means the relations, which we can call it as an selection. See, the first step is SSIT-LDB, give the LDB name and create it, select local object, what is the root node, and under that what we have to know. So under that we require this node and we require this node, and after that save it, and after that go for the selections. See, when I am going to the selections, it asking that do you want to save the existing LDB? Yes. So when I am saving that, it will takes a lot of the time. Why? Because which we are having all the data into the different database tables. First of all, the system has to collect the data, or else the system has to club all the database tables in the here. That's why it will take some little bit time. But in between of this time, can we have some discussion? If you are having any questions from here, Mr. Josh, from your side?
Yes, I can see.
Yeah, Josh,
Um,
do you have any confusion here?
I understand. I understand
The technology,
configuration.
what
Yeah.
I, yeah, that's great, that's great. Yeah, Mr. Ratul,
What?
are you clear here? Hello? Okay. Mr. George, any questionnaires from yours?
Yeah, I'm clear, sir.
Yeah, that's,
And after putting all these nodes together, what is the essence of this SSIT-36?
what is that?
I said, what is the importance of this SE36?
That's what. For the giving of the inputs only, we are creating these selections now. See, what is the selections here in the sense of the selections in the sense of what we have to give as an user, functional user, what we have to give here the values. That's what we are writing the program here in the selections now. That means up to now we didn't create the inputs and even we are not getting any outputs also. So in before of that, what we are doing that we have created one structure and the structure has been designed with the multiple of the nodes and each and every node has been represented with one database table and we have completed that the things of the so and so. But we didn't create the selections. That means what are the input values we have to give and this asset and assets and how to maintain the input fields here. For that purpose, we are going into the selections. So when we are clicking on the selections, it will take a while time. Why? Because it has to maintain the relation in between of the multiple of the database tables here. So that's why the backend, the ABAP engine will automatically arranging those of the database tables can be clubbed. So how it was? That's why it will be taking it's a little bit of the time taking here. Yeah, is it clear, Mr.?
Sir, in select, hello.
Yeah, tell me Atul.
In selection, will be giving the parameters like from 1 to 99 like this?
Yes, that's what. But what we are giving here is what we are giving is in before of giving the parameters of the 1 to 99 or 2000 to 2099. What is the 2000 to 2099? Or which you can ask me, which you are asking that what about the 1 to 99? But what are the values which we have to give under that 1 to 99? Is it in a customer number or it is in a order number or what it was? For that we are maintaining the selections. Even if you are having the sales orders in your server in your app engine as like as a sales from 1 to 1000 or something whatever. So in this situation what we have to do that we are calling the data from there. For that we are giving the input values by using the selection. So here we can say that which we can use in a like as in a parameter. What is the parameters which we have to give here? So is it clear, Mr. Till now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. George, any questions from your side? Yeah,
No, maybe when we come to selection, then it's very clear.
right. Let me take some time. Why? Because it will be takes a little bit time to collect the data from the different types of the database tables and has to be connected to this here. It will be take some time. So and before of that, I am giving one example to make a practice for you people. So here, instead of doing this practice for your side, I am giving one real-time exercise here, which I have worked for recently for the workout hospitals in my company. I am giving one example. See, the first database table here. The first table, I am having three database tables. In the first table, what the client is asking that, in the first table they want to maintain the patient ID. And in the second table, they want to maintain the patient name. And the third table, they want to maintain the joining date. In the third table, they want to maintain the time. So this is the one table. And even another database table, which they require is another database table which the client is asking about of here. It was a name. They're asking that patient ID and not the patient name, and they're asking about of the doctor ID or the doctor name, and what is the pharmacy amount, what is the billing amount of the pharmacy, and even and another database table, in another database table, what they are asking here is again the doctor and the patient ID, but not the pharmacy. Now they are asking about what is the amount for the scan and what is the amount for ECG and what is the amount for X-ray. So these are the three database tables which the client is having. And in the situation, in the situation, what the client is asking here is they want to get the records like this. If they are giving the details for the selections of patient ID and this patient ID from 101 to the patient ID of 201 and then execute, what it has to be happens that it has to be shown the report of patient ID, patient name, that means it has to be shown that patient ID and patient name and doctor and even that what is the pharmacy amount, and what would be the scan amount and what would be the ECG amount and what would be the X-ray amount and what was the total amount. But and before of getting this total amount, what they are asking that they have to maintain that ECG, scanning and X-ray and also the pharmacy. But I am having the pharmacy values in the table of 2 and even I am having the scanning and ECG and X-ray values in the table of 3. That means what we have to do that we need to club a multiple of the database tables. That means here my client is asking that patient wise, doctor wise, pharmacy amounts and patient wise, doctor wise, scanning and ECG and X-ray amounts and even the patient wise, doctor wise, total amount of the patient. Even they can ask like that also. So in this situation, we have to create this logical database. So for creation of this logical database, instead of the before, we have to create this something, the things of the this thing. So in the previous session, which we have discussed about of the database tables and even the connection in between of the each and every database table, and also how to make a relational in between of the each and every database table using by the primary key and the foreign key. So as like that, by using the primary key and foreign key, how we can create that, but that means how we can mingle the data in between of the into the report. So for that, which we have created one LDB, but it was not completed. I think so it has been breaked in before of that one. Change. This is the structure which we have created, and click on the selections. Yes. See, here it will be showing that two types of the selections. One is for the nodes for the pre-selection and another one is for the nodes for the field selection. So what was the difference in between of the pre-selections and the field selections? Again, the question will be there. Actually, I am waiting for this question from your side. See, what I am explaining here is, I am taking that, if you can see patient ID, the first table, patient ID in the second table, and the patient ID in the third table. That means these are the three database tables having the relation by the patient ID, and I want to get the details for the patient ID. Even if the client is not asking about of the patient ID wise records, if the client is asking about of the doctor wise, then what we have to do? Is it not possible to get the records? Or else, even here, if we can write the program of the condition, if whatever the pharmacy bill is more than the 2000, I want to get that report. Then what we have to do? So, in the situation, instead of the calling of the reports, instead of the primary keys, that means here in this three database tables, patient ID, and a doctor ID. These are the three fields as the primary key field. But what I am asking that instead of making of this primary key field, if the client is asking about of the primary key field instead of the primary key, then what we have to do in the sense of in that situation we have to do that select the field selection. So instead of that, if the client is asking to maintain the maintain the selections, what we have to do that from the pre-selection. That means whatever the primary key fields or the relational fields which we have taken from those of the fields, it has to become as an A selections. We have to take the pre-selection. Instead of those of the fields, if they want to maintain as some other fields, we can take as a field selection. But here I am taking first of all as a pre-selections and transfer. I don't want to write any program here. The system will automatically generate the program here. See what it was showing that first of all remove the star mark of this condition, and this is the condition which is called as a select options. So which we said that it is a selection program. So in this selection program, what I want to say here is I want to get the data when it was when I'm calling the data using by customer number from and. That means here the selection option for me is CN. As like that, whenever whatever you want to write the selection options which you want for that condition is selection option. And this select options, what we have to do. So I want to make a selection option for the field of KUNNR from the table of KNA. So what was in KNA1 in the sense of the KNA1 is a database table of our customer. And what do you mean by the KUNNR? So what is the KUNNR in the sense of the KUNNR is nothing but a customer number. That means in KNA1, that means in the table of customer master data, and I want to maintain the field of customer number, but remove the question mark, and what do you want as in a selection option field? So which I want to make it as a CNO. So I want to maintain as the CNO as my selection options. I want to make the one of the selection options as CN. And even I want to add to make as another field also as in a selection option as an a bow and bow. So I want to maintain the selection option of the CNO and ONO also. CNO is nothing but a customer number and ONO is an order number. So after completion of this one, just activate it. For the activation of anything in SSIT-LDB, we need to use this activate button as a control plus F3. And after completion of the activate, what we have to do that? Make a save. So the first initial two parts has been completed. What is the first part is a structure, and the second part is a selection. Which of the selections we want. So, and then what we will do that? We need to go for the source code. Should the program of the logical database JDBC to be generated from the structure and selection? That means, do you want to generate the output from the structure and the selection? Yes. Then it is automatically generating the program. Here, this is the include program. Include of ZB. See, DB database ZABCDN XXX. That means LDB. Just double click on here. See, and this LDB, we are having the three nodes. One is the KNA1, VBA, VBA. So which of the nodes we want to access now? I want to access the node of first one. And in the first node, what we have to do? So here, I am writing the program of select star from KNA. So, what is the KNA1 in the sense of the customer master table? And what is the purpose of the select star from? Select star from in the sense of to get all the details from the database table. What is the select star from? To access all the database table fields and the records from the database table of the KNA1. And how it should be? In the sense of whatever the data which we have collected from the KNA1, from the data, wherever the KU NNR will be there. That means whatever the data which we have collected from the database table of the KNA1, wherever you are having the KU NNR, that means customer number, that has to be in CNO. And whenever we are writing the select or something, anything, that has to be conclusion, having the conclusion of completing and select. So, select star from KNA1, where CNO, and it has to be closed with the conclusion with the end select. And now let's make an activate and save it and come back. Again, double click on here. This is the second one. Select VBA and where VBA into ONO. Why? Because we are taking the two multiple of the selection options. One is the KNR and the second one is the VBA. One is for the customer number and the second one is for the order number. And what we require by using this, see, here also and select activate it, save it, and come back again. And again, I'm going to the node VBEP.
So, Vijay?
Yeah, tell me.
Yes. Look at you want to go back again to ONO.
ONO in the sense of which we have taken the selections of the order number.
Then full stop at the end of it. If you don't put full stop, if you don't put full stop,
say yeah. The first one is an A, the first one is an A, KNA1. That means get the data from KNA1 and whatever the data which we are getting from that database table and wherever you are having the KU NNR from the database table, that value has to be comes into the CNO. That means the selection of the CNO. And
yes.
select.
And after the CNO, you put full stop. Okay?
Yes.
If you don't put the full stop, what will happen?
Which one? It was put code.
The CNO.
Sorry, I can't get you. I'm not hearing your voice. Can you clearly? Can you speak loud?
Look at the VBELN.
See, what is the see? What is the VBA? What is the VBA key in the sense of? It was a customer-wise, sales order table. From that database table, what I want to do that I want to get the data and whatever the data which I am getting here, and that if in the data wherever I am having the VBELN, and that has to be comes into the ONO. That's what I am writing. Why? Because I have taken the two of the selection fields. One is the CNO and another one is the ONO. That's why automatically it was showing that as an ONO. Even instead of that, if I can't write this, or else if I'm not making this, what will be happens is the selection options will not be works here. If you don't pull the full stop, what will be happen? Yes, that's what. See, if we cannot put the full stop here, see, I can understand the question, Mr. Josh. So, What you are asking that if you can select star from VBAK and where the VBELN is ONO. That means it was not completed. If it was not completed, and then end select, what will be happens? That's what you are asking. No? Let me check it out. See, first of all, let us check it out. Activate it, or if you prefer the purpose. That's it. See, errors or problem discovered during the check. What do you want to do? So just show me the error. I want to show the error. What was happening here? What is the error which we are having? See, incorrect expression put in the logical condition. That means here the logical condition which we have written as an a select star from. That select star from has to be comes from wherever the VBELN is there. That should be from the ONO. Even if we can didn't maintain as an a VNO here, either we can maintain as an a full stop or a comma. Whatever the condition which has been closed, that has to be having the conclusion with the either by the full stop or a comma. Here, if you can maintain the comma, you can take in a multiple of the selection options. Even if you can take in the full stop, it will be going to close. So here, instead of this one, it will be proposing the some error here. Right? Activity and save it and come back. In the third note, see here the condition will be a little bit changes. What it will be happens is select star from VBAP. That's great. I want to get the data from VBAP and how the VBAP in the sense of wherever in the VBAP the field of the VBELN is there, that VBELN has to be equal to the previous database table of the VBELN. That means the second database table of the VBELN and the third database table of the VBELN should be the same or has to be the same. Close it. And now answer. Now see, activate it, save it, come back, activate it, save it, come back, activate it, save it, and come back. I'm checking each and everything after the selecting of something. Now if I can go for the execute, see what will happen is it asking about the selection options of customer number and order number. Even we have to maintain this in a, even it has to be maintained as an a, either by the customer number or by the order number. So what do you want to get the data? See, this was a very simple and easiest tool which we are having in the SAP, which is called an LDB. In the first part of the LDB, it consists of the one of the structure. See, the first one is a structure. And what we have done there here is we have created that one structure with a multiple of the nodes. In the first node, which we are taken as a node A, node B, and node C. And the node A consists of the table of so and so. And node B consists of the table of so and so. And node C consists of the table of so and so. And after getting the source structure, what we have to do that we need to create the selections. And the selections, which of the fields you want to make it. See, selection of CNO. I want to make the one of the selection option as an A, CNO, and another selection option as an A, order number. And after that, activate it, and then save it, and come back. And after that, we have to go for the source code. And that source code, I want to maintain for this LDB of see. And here, in the first database table, first of all, we have created that one select star from KNM. That means to get the data records from the KNM, where it was whatever the data which were taken, if from that the data whatever we have collected, that should be wherever in the KNR will be there, the KNR has to be comes and equal to the CLE. And full stop and then select as like as for VBAK, the second node, and even for the third node, And after completion of the every nodes, again, come back by step by activating of this one. See? Some come back, come back, come back. And now what we have to do that, we need to make it as a completion of this one. In this situation, execute. When you are going to execute it, it asking you that CNO. What is the customer number you want to get the record? So I want to get the records from 1000. That means I want to get the records from 100 to 1000. And then execute. That means, and before creating of this LDB, first of all, what we have to must check that in the sense of we should or we must have to check what is the tables which we are accessing, and even and those of the database tables, what are the fields will be there. That is a manual. What are the fields will be there, and even what are the records which we want to get, and from where. From where in the sense of from these of the database tables, and from so and so, how it was. That's what we have to make it as a clear view of the LDB. When we want to make a view of the LDB, first of all, we need to make a clearance of database tables and the fields and everything. After then only, it will be going to clear. So this is what we are calling as an LDB. It will be take some time for getting of this one. So is it clear, Mr. Atul and Mr. George? George, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
So
Yes.
is it clear for your board? What are the tools which you have
Yes, sir.
discussed? And this is a very good for that. It is a very good interaction, and it was a good tool which we are having in SAP-ABAP, and it was having the excellent opportunity to work with the multiple of the database tables as a functional consultant. Even if you are in a financials, or even if you are in a sales, or even if you are in a HR, whatever it was. Okay, and so here, whatever I am explaining, so as Vishal promised in the previous thing, whatever the concept which has been done for day by day, and which I am forwarding this notes are the topics to you people of the melodies. So as Vishal promised for each and every online session, whatever the class which has been done, I will send it for you people into your something. See, for that, the first session, in the previous session which I discussed this, how to create the tables. And after creating of the table, we are discussing with LDB. And but this LDB and these two things which I'm forwarding you people. But now, just check it out the ladies. And whatever I have promised you people, whatever I have the class which I have done, and I'm sending each and everything. And even if you can follow me in the YouTube, and whenever you are entering that, just click on it as an a something, just as an a SS Information Technologies. Even if you can click on the SS Information Technologies in any of the YouTube, you can get this concept with a something is whatever I'm explaining. See, the first one is the Arik Josh, and the second one is the Atul Kushla, and I'm sending this file, the both of the files of tables and LD. And even in the previous session also, which we have discussed, I think so I have already forwarded the session for Josh in the YouTube. So even if you can check it out with your YouTube, you can get all the details, all the sessions which I am explaining, but not completed sessions. You can just in here, just make the selection of SS Information Technologies, and you can get the sessions whatever we have discussed in the previous. See, SS Information Technologies is the company's view, and SS Information Technologies parking of coding document, and what is SS Information Technologies, and like that, every concept, each and every concept which you can send. Even if it can be in the WhatsApp or in the Skype or whatever it was, and I am sending the link also to your WhatsApp number also, you can get easily the things. Even here, the yesterday topic which we had discussed in the previous discussion, data dictionary. So, and the data dictionary also has been updated in our tool or in our systems. So for that one also you can search here. Or else I will send the links for you people also for that one. So don't be get any confusion about of the clashes and the recording session. Each and everything will be there. Don't get any confusion. Right? And this is about our today's session and this session. And again, we will meet again in the new session with the another tool which will be using by this same LDB. What will be happening? So I think so it will be useful for yours and it will be clear for you people. Is it clear now? Mr. George and
Yes.
Nakul? Right.